What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bob's Garage. Today we're going to track down what is making this noise. Okay, so ever since I got the car back from the body shop, it's been making this weird noise. So it started out just kind of like almost like randomly, and it was like kind of like a small like little rubbing sound. And I thought maybe it was actually something like in the front bumper. I thought maybe it was like the coolant hose or the windshield washer fluid hose that runs to the front headlight washers. But it got worse and worse over time. So it originally only started when I was making turns. Then it started to do it like all the time. Now it does it over bumps and everything. So it's getting really loud, really annoying. We need to make sure we don't have a safety issue on our hands. So let's check this out. Alright, so here's where we're at. This is on the driver's side front. And I removed the cover up top here. And I got the wheel turned just so I can kind of peek inside there. So I almost think, originally thought it was this piece here. Something binding there. It's probably not going to show up well on the camera, but this little boot here, or bushing, is kind of broke. But I don't think it's there. I tried that control arm or whatever where it mounts in the back there at the top of the strut tower. Tried WD-40ing that, and it still hasn't really stopped it. That boot back there actually looks torn as well. But kind of like way back there where like that accordion hose looking thing is, that almost sounds like it's like squeaking way back in there. And I did notice that this little thing is loose here. There you go. So not sure what that exactly is supposed to hold on. But so the problem I'm having though is like when I push on it, it almost sounds like it's making noise like back in this region, way back here, rather than closer like over here. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to maybe take a peek under the car and see, but it might, I thought maybe like even like the strut bolts up here were loose, and I'm gonna test them. I'm gonna check them, make sure they're nice and tight, but it still sounds almost like it's underneath like my brake booster. So it's either something with the rack and pinion or whatever for the power steering, or something else. I don't know yet. So stay tuned. Okay, so I got the car jacked up here just to get a little more room inside of here, and it was kind of squeaking as I took the pressure off the springs and stuff. Just basically looking for any blaringly obvious issues. I don't see nothing right off the bat. This is where I already tried spraying WD-40 just to see if that would eliminate the squeak. This was the clamp piece that I was, that I was talking about was loose or not on anything. I think it has to go around this boot here. I would assume this boot pulls out and this clamps around there, so I'm gonna need to use two hands to get that back on. You can see up here where I sprayed some more WD-40, that bushing, that rubber piece is torn. Okay, after extensive review, I've come to the conclusion that I have no clue what the squeaking, or where the squeaking is coming from. So, thought it would be a potentially easy fix, but, or at least maybe not a fix, but an identification. But it's alright. So what I'm going to do is take the wheel apart, just kind of give everything a visual inspection, check out my brakes. It's been wow, what has it been? About 6 months since I've worked on the car last. That's why I haven't been putting out any videos. So, everyone that thinks these Audis aren't very reliable, well, I don't know what to tell you. Drove through entire Chicagoland winter without needing to touch the car, work in the car, or anything. And it's good. So as long as you maintain your car, and that is with me beating the shit out of it, but you know. Okay, there you go. Alright, so further inspection. Okay, so I mentioned it before about how, where did it even go? This clamp was not holding on this boot here. So this is just something that I noticed, like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna put it back on, but let me see what's inside. So I pushed it back, and this is corrosion, rust. It looks bone dry in there. Now I'm pretty sure there's a pivot point somewhere back up in there. So my question to you guys is, you think that could be the source of the squeak, like back up in here? And because this boot came out, like, do I need to pack that with grease? I'm not sure if I should spray WD-40 inside there or not. I mean, if you look way in there, it looks just like crap. Huh. Okay, I think I'm going to spray some WD-40 in there, pull this down, put that clip back on there to hold this in place, and further inspection, this black bushing here looks pretty good. This one on the right is blown out, you can kind of see it there. The one on the left looks good, but it looks smashed. So if I come around to the other side of the car, not sure if I'll be able to see it in there. I mean, this one looks a little smushed as well. That other one, I mean, look at that. Look at the difference. So I'm thinking that bearing's blown out. That must have been from some gnarly pothole or something. Back up in there, kind of looks like that's torn on the top. This guy looks good. Back down in there, I don't see anything major. And back on that one, looks pretty good. So I'm gonna keep spraying stuff down and see what happens. Alright, so here's where I currently stand. Still can't quite pin down where the issue is. Like I said, I think it might be back in that rack and pinion portion. It kind of looks like a ball joint back inside of there. So I sprayed WD-40, and then I found some white lithium grease, sprayed it in there. I was able to get that clamp on, so now it holds it from sliding. Kind of sprayed a couple other spots, and so here's what I'm doing. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on the suspension here. Okay. Now when I release it, it's still making some noises, so let's listen here. Well, just a couple clicks on that time. But so after spraying it and shit, I'm gonna put the wheel back on, lower it back down, maybe go for a test drive and see if there's any difference at all. Guess we'll find out. So stay tuned for more. Alright, let's test this out. So the tire's back on the car. Look at that. Alright, test drive time. Alright, so there we have it. The test drive went well. The car is no longer squeaking. All you hear is the shocks releasing. That is awesome. So this has been driving me nuts for a long time. I googled it. There's a ton of forum posts from years past where people are having the exact same problem and stuff. everything from lower control arms, upper control arms, the everything. So if this wasn't going to work, what I was going to try to do was get a grease gun with like a syringe needle on the tip, and an article said to push it into your bearings and inject grease right into your, or not your bearings, your bushings, right into your bushings. So I wasn't maybe going to do that on like the bushings that look nice, but there's a couple that are split that I showed you before. So that was going to be my next step. I firmly believe that it was the ball joint that was back inside that sliding rubber boot for the steering arm. I don't know. I kind of lubed everything up, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it was. So what I got to do now is just put the car back together. I'm going to put the trim piece on, put away all my tools. I think I'm going to call it a night. And yeah, let me know if you have any comments or questions. So here's the stuff that I used. I guess it's from Napa. Let me see here. It's called white lithium grease. Long-lasting lubrication, will not wash off, melt, or freeze. And that's what it says on the bottom here. And it works really good. So I recommend this stuff. It's just something that I had laying around here in the garage. The brand is CRC, white lithium grease. And yeah, I was originally going to do WD-40, but I think WD-40 is a little more temporary, so we'll see how long this lasts. I anticipate this squeak issue coming back, but I figured every time that I remove the tire, I'll pull that back, spray everything down on both sides, and it should be good. So I'm really curious to take apart the passenger side eventually and inspect inside the boot and see if that side looks better, because this side was completely rusted out inside there, so it kind of looked like a ball joint. But stay tuned for more, and thanks for tuning in.